For assignment 2 for Education for Impact into and beyond the profession, I'll be interviewing practicing teacher Mr. Reese Field. Mr. Field is a high school teacher majoring in both English and drama. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this interview with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Well, welcome.
Today's interview will revolve around the 5 practices of GTPA: planning, teaching, assessing, reflecting, and appraising. The first 2 questions for this interview will revolve around the planning practice. Question 1. How do you, as a teacher, use data to inform decisions on the teaching and planning cycle?
Well, one thing in particular that I use at the beginning of the school year is download the one class school profile, as I'm aware of the specific differentiation in regards to the cognitive and physical requirements.
Question 2. How do you plan lessons to incorporate engaging teaching strategies?
Well, I believe one thing you can do in particular is involving some level of ICT, as well as team-related competition. This could be through Bamboozle or activities like categories online, where making those connections with the units, I feel like can be a great success, maintaining that engagement in the classroom.
As a high school teacher, you teach such a broad range of students every day, from grade 7s to year 12s. How do you change your lessons or implement different strategies to keep each different age group engaged in the learning?
I think one strategy that I use in particular is kind of changing the complexity of the vocabulary. Mm-hmm. So especially in English, if I'm going to be teaching my junior classes, I definitely know I'm going to have more simple, more concise vocabulary as compared to more kind of complex terminology with my seniors. Another aspect that I use, I feel like to keep engagement quite high and level production is brain breaks. Mm-hmm. With juniors, I use much more of a plethora of physical and ICT moments of pause to keep the production high as well as the energy, whereas my seniors, I will definitely make it a bit more refined to make sure that keeping that level of effort at a certain level.
Beautiful. My next question involves teaching practice. So, how do you differentiate instructions for needs of diverse learners throughout your classroom?
So one thing that I choose, which is a very simple kind of tool but is extremely effective, is using the Open Dyslexic font, which is available online. It is something that is quite small in the teaching classroom, but can make a really ginormous effort,
yep.
Especially with my kids with dyslexia. Another aspect that I choose to do is making sure that in my PowerPoints, as well as my OneNotes, that I have the font very large, so it is very much clear, especially for my kids with visual impairments, that they can see very clearly.
Beautiful. And then how do you engage with the teacher aides in your classroom?
A lot, constantly. So with the teacher aides, I really feel like they're an extension of my kind of teaching toolkit. I check in with them before class, during class and after class, just to make sure that those targeted individuals in the class are meeting the needs in regards to kind of looking at the behaviour and effort as well.
Beautiful. So it's kind of like a collaborative classroom with the teacher aides.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
The next couple of questions involves the assessing practice. So, how do you use a variety of assessment tools in your classroom, like feedback, for example?
Well, one thing that I use in particular is these prior knowledge quizzes. So that's to really pinpoint the class as a whole, see what is their prior knowledge about that particular unit, and if I need to delve into certain key terminology or ideas in regards
to kind of seeing where they're at before you start teaching.
100%. Yep. And then for when it gets closer, more of that, the summative task, I do feel like it's really important to have some level of practice exam. Mm-hmm. So most recently, I had my literature class. We had an analytical essay, and it was very much crucial for them to engage in the practice exam so that I could sit down with them about a week prior to their actual summative dates to kind of go through their strengths as well as some criticisms, so they're aware of what they need to do in preparation for the exam.
Beautiful. And then do you just use verbal feedback or written feedback? How do you kind of go about that in the classroom sense?
Combination of both.
Yeah.
So I really feel like depending on the student, some will retain that information much better through verbal communication. Others very much need to have that key dot points, even some aspects of highlighting, whether it be structure, knowledge, or even the textual features, so it is very much clear to them.
Beautiful. How do you make judgments of the quality of student works and engage in the moderation practice with your fellow teachers?
So before I engage in the moderation process, I always make sure that I'm deconstructing the task sheet as well as the criteria as in depth as possible. This is to make sure that I'm 100% clear on what the requirements are of the task, as well as what my students are being assessed on. With that information, I'll then go to the subject year coordinator to have that quick check-in process to make sure that my P's and Q's are 100% in order.
Beautiful. And how often do you moderate with your colleagues?
So we engage in a pre-moderation process. So I know that at the start of particular semester 1, semester 2, we'll sit down and look over certain units that there may have been some great strengths, or there might have been some confusion in regards to the task. But we always take place moderation at the end, around mid or more than likely end of terms. To address those summative tasks to make sure that we are all on the same page in regards to our level of marking.
Just quickly touching back on that moderation process, can you just kind of run me through how it goes at your school?
So with our moderation process, it always takes place in the afternoon. So for senior, there will be moments where we can be allocated a last period of the day. But more than likely, it is after school, so especially with our juniors. We will be sectioned off into a variety of small groups with a particular subject as well as a year level. Within those small groups, I will equally distribute our students' works around maybe 3 to 4. And then within those small groups, we will start to kind of discuss and annotate the assessed grade before coming to the conclusion of whatever the mark that we deem is adequate to ensure that we're kind of meeting that equal understanding of the task.
My next few questions revolve around the appraising practice. How do you measure the impact of your teaching that you're having on your students?
Well, one level of impact is obviously assessing the summary of data. So whether I'm seeing that increase or decrease in that level of grades. But I truly believe a grade measurement is really the level of attention. So that could be more particularly my essential English classes that have a some relativity of being lower end students. So I'm really making sure I'm looking at, okay, are they actually completing those responses to the best of their ability? Are they engaging in classroom discussion? As well as are they actively reaching out for feedback so I can see those true qualities of a successful learner in the classroom, but more importantly, seeing that initiative that they can then take into the real world.
Beautiful. How do you use professional learning to inform or enhance your teaching style?
Well, one professional development that really comes to mind straight away is before heading up here at North Queensland, I attended an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander professional development known as the Black Card course. This allowed me to have such a greater understanding of the cultural differences, as well as having a much greater level of awareness before ingraining myself in the community, and really having more of a nuanced approach when it came to interacting with parents, but more importantly, the key members of the community, as well as the elders in the school.
Beautiful. And you engage in ongoing professional development?
Yes, 100%. So it is really crucial for teachers, depending whether you are an early career 3 teacher or you are a senior teacher, to making sure that you are indeed maintaining being a lifelong learner and knowing that there's always something else to gain with your teaching practice.
Beautiful. That concludes our interview for today, Mr. Field. Thank you so much again for spending time with me and answering those questions. It was such a delight to hear from such an experienced teacher. Thank you.